Good afternoon. We at Rio Tinto are present here at this Climate Change Summit to address our changing position within climate change and some of the problems we have encountered and ways in which we are solving these problems to decrease the negative impact we have had on the environment. At Rio Tinto, we are proud to believe in a need for change in relation to climate change. Within the past 6 years, we have come to change our standard of operations so that 85% of our work is done within the jurisdictions of the carbon pricing either already operating or already legislated. With the need to change to accommodate for climate change, there have been benefits and downfalls which we have had to adhere to. The goal of reducing greenhouse gases has led to increasing the cost of these gases to ensure lower energy use. We are proactive at positioning ourselves in a way to ensure that we are prepared for further carbon restraints and climate regulations. We have three main resources through which we primarily gain our power, these being aluminium, iron ore, and copper and coal. We are one of the global leaders in aluminium. Aluminium has been vital in producing infrastructure to support mining plants, dams, storage facilities, and roads. Our copper and coal group is solely owned by us, and we aim to reduce cost, leverage technology, and ensure safe and productive and sustainable work. Coal has been a cost-effective addition, which has provided an abundance of energy sources. Iron ore has lower cost and environmental impact, which has been a beneficial addition to our company to endorse change. We are proud to be funded through a number of different companies, depending upon the different projects and areas in which we are working. There are always support networks worldwide who support the work in which we are doing to produce greater energy across the world. Companies with whom we partner with to bring the best of our services support us wholeheartedly in our attempts to preserve the environment and suit the needs of society. However, within some communities where we try to benefit them, there is some protesting against our actions. However, we do not work on any community unless it has been approved through the right arms of government to ensure that there is as little as possible harm to the environment.
Rio Tinto faces two main problems involving climate change. The first being the initial existence of climate change and how that affects the potential growth of the business and mining. And secondly, Rio Tinto produces copious amounts of emissions contributing towards global warming. Their main production is of raw materials including aluminium ore, copper, coal, diamonds, minerals, and iron ore. The process of mining isn't environmentally friendly to begin with, as it involves the destruction of land and minerals. But the processes Rio Tinto uses to mine are debatable in being obviously problematic. For example, one of Rio Tinto's major minings is aluminium. Bauxite is the world's main source of aluminium. To extract aluminium from bauxite, a process called smelting is used. Every 1 ton of aluminium is produced by every 4 tons of mined bauxite. Through this process, greenhouse gas emissions are created, inducing emissions such as carbon dioxide and perfluorocarbons. The perfluorocarbons released from this process are 9,200 times more harmful than carbon dioxide in terms of global warming. Boyne Smelters is a business owned within Rio Tinto and creates 570,000 tons of aluminium per annum, which is just one out of many aluminium businesses in Rio Tinto. In comparison of the ratio used between aluminium and bauxite, these large numbers can be severely dangerous towards global warming. Rio Tinto speaks openly about their impact on climate change. For example, CEO Sam Walsh explains, the scale of the vital emissions reduction and the need for adaptation combined with the world's increasing requirements for secure, affordable energy creates large challenges. Meeting these challenges will create threats and opportunity for Rio Tinto's businesses. As Rio Tinto grows, climate change problems are continually faced, where the dispute of climate change over further profits begins. In terms of climate change, Rio Tinto has moved forward toward working to improve climate change, where previous management of Rio Tinto declined that climate change was impacted by human activities to begin with. In 2009, Rio Tinto CEO declared that emissions human-caused are contributing to climate change and that avoiding human-caused change to the climate is an important international goal. Compared to decades prior to 2016, there are now many successful rehabilitation projects on previously mined areas, as well as copious amounts of careers employed to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Rio Tinto in 2008 set a target of a 10% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions for 2015, and in 2015 a 21.1% reduction was achieved. This shows that Rio Tinto is moving forward since previous years, trying to learn from their current situations and reducing their emissions for the better.
As we at Rio Tinto are aware, our impact on the environment isn't as positive as we would like it to be, which is something we endeavour to change. We recognise that even though the measures needed to address climate change may affect our value with shareholders, they are still an invaluable step towards bettering the company. One of our main goals is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions while still allowing our products to meet society's needs. We have started to provide lightweight transportation for our aluminium products, as well as working to increase the efficiency of smelting aluminium to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions caused by the process. We rely on industrial minerals to improve the energy efficiency of our processes, and our solar evaporated salt uses only a fraction of the energy required for the alternate method of collecting salt. We are also working to achieve near zero emissions for power generation and hydrogen production from coal, and are reducing steel industry greenhouse gas emissions through development of our carbon-efficient iron-making process. We are also being proactive and transparent in our endeavours to achieve our greenhouse gas emissions targets. We aim to do this by setting and achieving progressive targets to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and reporting our progress annually so that we are held accountable for our promises. We also aim to undertake and encourage projects that are designed to reduce emissions from our operations and the use of our products, as well as working with our customers and suppliers to help them and us also reduce emissions. We are also considering physical impacts of a changing climate as part of our normal planning process and having the appropriate plans in place to cater to potential issues. Last year alone, we achieved an award from the CDP for the largest absolute carbon reduction by reducing our carbon emissions by nearly 3.5 million tonnes and achieving a 97 CDP climate score. We have also signed the Paris Pledge for Action, which states, as cities, regions, businesses, investors, civil society groups, trade unions, and other signatories, coming from every sector of society and every corner of the world, we realise that dangerous climate change threatens our ability and the ability of future generations to live and thrive in a peaceful and prosperous world. In supporting the pledge, we come together with other leading global companies as strong advocates for global action. We join the other signatories in stating our commitment to a safe and stable climate, and therefore ensuring we have reasons to be held accountable to all the promises that have been made. Rio Tinto as a company and as an industry have in the past and continue to practice strict regulation in regard to the exploitation of fossil fuels. Attempting to limit our personal effect on climate change, Rio Tinto actively attempts to reduce our own ecological footprint by monitoring our use of water and developing sustainable energy solutions. Rio Tinto's acknowledgement of our company's ethical downfall in recent history proves the company to have a strong morale and a pressing interest in preserving the environment. Due to social pressures and education surrounding the amount of damage companies like Rio Tinto are capable of, it has become apparent that alternate methods of acquiring and supplying energy that do not completely deplete resources are necessary. As supply and demand dictate the levels of Rio Tinto's production, the transition into low-carbon assets has been challenging. Focusing on 4 separate areas of how to reduce climate change and limit an environmental footprint, Rio Tinto has designed a program which cooperates with government authorities to record general impacts to the environment. More specifically, Rio Tinto have employed strategies to re-establish sites to our independence and choose sites based on their ability to be restored to their original condition post-excavation. Rio Tinto's goal to provide energy in a sufficient, sustainable nature that causes as little to no harm to the environment as possible is a high possibility. Working towards a goal that is similarly shared by other big energy providers across the globe, Rio Tinto has adjusted methods of obtaining and processing fossil fuels to create a sustainable Earth for generations to come.
Although we at Rio Tinto have been changing our ways in which we work to better improve the impact which we have had on the environment, there are always ways for us to continually grow to allow for better sources of power to the wider community and to reduce our use of harmful energy. We have been working on strategies to solve the problems which we have encountered by attempting to reduce emissions, set targets, and continue to regularly report our progress. We believe that in the future we will be able to further reduce our impact on climate change to ensure a better future.